Welcome to the JJ Virgin Lifestyle Show with celebrity nutrition expert, fitness Hall of Famer, and 4-time New York Times bestselling author, JJ Virgin. JJ is a warrior mom whose knowledge and expertise have helped change hundreds of thousands of lives with over 3.5 million podcast downloads and appearances on Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, The Today Show, Rachel Ray, Larry King Live.
Whoa. This show is about you, not about me. I want to help you find practical, real-world ways to dial in your health and mindset so you can finally lose that weight and feel strong and energized. Stop settling for less than your personal best. It's time to find out how to look and feel better than ever. And I'll be right here with you the whole way.
Hey, it's JJ, and I am super excited today to have my buddy, Dr. Mariza Snyder, back. I've got her back because she has a new book out, the Essential Oils Hormone Solution, and it is one you are going to want to have for your success library. Let me tell you a little bit about Mariza, and then I'm going to share with you what we're going to be talking about today, because I have never heard anyone talk about this, and it is a game changer. So Dr. Mariza Snyder is a functional practitioner and the author of 7 books, the best-selling The Smart Mom's Guide to Essential Oils and the Dash Diet Cookbook. And their latest book, The Essential Oils Hormone Solution, talks about how you can balance hormones with the power of essential oils. And she's going to be sharing her own story, her own battle with hormones and weight loss, and finally her wake-up call when she realized that she wasn't crazy and needed to try a new approach, and how she has used essential oils to really crush cravings and basically fuel her metabolic fire. It's really cool and something that we all can do. So I'm super excited to share that with you. And before I do, I want to do a shout out. And I want to do a shout out to April RDHM, who says, wow, high quality evidence-based health advice that actually works. 5 stars. She says, if you want to increase your quality of life, listen to JJ Virgin. I am a 30-year-old mom with thyroid disease, and the tips I've received on these podcasts have been life-changing for me. Love it. Thank you so much. That is super awesome. I really appreciate it. And if you've noticed, I've been doing these shout outs now for people leaving reviews because they mean so much to me. So I want to make sure that I'm throwing that gratitude right back out at you. So if you feel so inclined, I would love to shout you out with a review on the podcast. And while you're over there, be sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of this juicy stuff like today's podcast, where we're going to be talking about essential oils, how you can use them to balance your hormones and lose the weight, and which ones you should be using. Plus, I have a great little cheat sheet for Cravings, some of the blends you can use for Cravings, and you'll be able to grab that and the show notes at jjvirgin.com/hormone-EO. That's jjvirgin.com/hormone-EO. Dr. Mariza Snyder, welcome back to the show. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Thank you, JJ, for having me. I am so happy to be back.
Yes. I wish you were just over here in my house with me, actually.
Me too. You always have the best food at the house.
Best food, best parties. So as you can tell, everyone listening, Mariza and I are buddies, and we hang out a bunch together. And so I could not be more excited to talk about this topic, because what you're doing, I'm just going to tease this a little bit and then we're going to backtrack. But what you're doing with weight loss and essential oils is super duper groundbreaking. So for everybody listening, you're about to really find out how to just, basically I'm calling it the fuel you can put on your metabolic fire. And if things haven't been working, I think you're going to be like so excited to hear what Mariza has to say. But before we go there, now that I've just teased everybody, let's talk about your health journey. Like, how did you get into all of this? What led you here?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a couple health journeys, but the one I really want to focus on is about 10 years ago, I was in that place. I was in the throes of hormone chaos. I had 35 pounds that I could not lose to save my life. I was in spin classes. I was starving myself. I was trying to do juice cleanses. I mean, everything, JJ. I could not lose this weight. And what I had to figure out was that it wasn't about all this crazy yo-yo dieting. It wasn't about, running off to CrossFit or whatever I was doing. It was my hormones. Everything that was driving why I was holding on to this weight was that I was in this survival mode, because I believed that as a woman, my worth was predicated by how much I did for everybody else. And the only person that was not on that list was me. Because, that's why would we ever be on our own list? And I when I figured it out, when I ran the hormone test, when I looked and saw what was going on, I was a total mess. And I knew that I had to get that right first before I could lose the weight. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened.
It reminds me, I have a girlfriend, her name's Dr. Diana Schwartzbein, and she used to say, you have to get healthy to lose weight, not lose weight to get healthy, which I remember she said that and I go, oh, that's such a tough sell. Like, that's not what we want to hear. But it's such a critical thing that you said so many things I want to unpack. First of all, you know how I like to say your body's not a bank account, it's a chemistry lab, which means it's all about the hormones. And for you to say, stop, all the stuff I'm doing is crazy. It's actually making me worse, not better, and ignore what everyone is saying to do, which is eat less, exercise more, go to the gym more, eat, you saw that it was actually making you worse, not better, and took a step back and decided to not be insane anymore.
It literally felt like I was running in circles. I always say, like, the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, right? I was getting no different result. I still felt just crappy. I felt like I was holding on to extra weight. I felt crazy.
You finally looked at all of this stuff, and actually it wasn't finally, it sounds like after some bit of time you went, okay, stop. This is crazy. It's not working. So then what did you do?
I let go of a lot of what wasn't serving me. I was very dutiful. I loved obligation. I loved being obliging people. So I let a lot of things go. I let toxic people go. I let toxic tasks go. I did a lot of self-care. Like I put myself on the list for the first time ever in my life. I got on that list, and I started doing different types of workouts. It was much more gentler on my body. I did shift the way that I ate, but it wasn't about dieting. It wasn't about, this kind of yo-yo trend that I was on. So there were some shifts there. And then eventually I also brought in probably one of my most powerful kind of gateways into creating hormone balance, and that was essential oils. So that trifecta, the oils, the food, and the self-care, that was really the key to my success.
So what is really cool now is I know that you've been putting that together so that everyone can do that. I'm going to just, again, mention that you have a book that I'm like long time overdue, Hormones and Essential Oils, and where you're going to walk people through this, which is just incredible. And what are you seeing now as to like people's issues with their hormones? What is going on that is causing us to have this weight loss resistance, to just get stuck like you were?
I think what's going on is that we are constantly running from one thing to the next. We are living in a constant chronic state of stress. And the thing of it is our bodies don't know the difference between us clutching the pearls because we're late to a meeting, or we don't have assignment due at work, or someone sends us a crazy text message. Our bodies doesn't know the difference between that level of perceived stress and when there's an actual tiger or some scary stranger behind us. And I think we are living in this perpetual state of stress. And when we're in the state of stress, our body is in survival mode. It's as if Armageddon's about to happen. And your body, when it's in survival mode, it holds on to everything. It holds on, and most particularly, it holds on to fat in areas that we don't want it. Belly fat, booty fat, although maybe some people want some booty fat. Booty fat, we're talking about thighs. It's a lot of those areas that are just, that we're just holding on to this potential fuel storage in case something really terrible happens.
I know. Why doesn't it just go to our boobs?
Right? Or our boobs and butt.
Come on.
I mean, I like a little booty.
Boobs, butt, and a little bit in your face. Like, that'd be fine. But no.
It goes to your tummy. Nobody wants that.
It goes to your belly and your thighs. And no one likes that. So, all right. So now that you've identified that, which it is, and that's why when you've got this going on and you then go get more frantic and, starve yourself and do more, you get the exact opposite result of what you're looking for. So what do you do then? Like, how do you fix this?
Yes, that is the $1 million question. Again, first, it's really looking at, there are foods, there are definitely hormone sabotaging foods that are wrecking us, sugar.
Ooh,
yes.
I was like, the hormone sabotaging foods. That's a little sexy term. Like what? What are the real naughties?
Oh, you know the naughties, JJ. I'm not telling you.
I know, but I want everyone to hear it. I want everyone to hear it from someone else so that just in case any of these might be sneaking in, which I'm sure they're not, this can't happen to such nice people, but just in case, I want just them to hear it again. So they'll just go, nope, not on my watch.
Exactly. So sugar, nope, not on our watch. Sugar is probably the biggest culprit here. And guess what? We feed our body sugar when we're exhausted. We feed our body sugar when we're in chronic stress. So sugar, dairy, gluten, alcohol, even coffee. I know I don't want to say it.
Now stop it. Just be quiet.
And not for everybody. You've really got to figure out if coffee is okay for you or not. We both have had lots of cups of coffee together over the years.
I was just thinking too, as you were saying all those naughties, and like literally this is not that big of a deal to take out. We were in Germany and we were in the Netherlands together. We have done some fun traveling together and stayed away from the naughty stuff for the most part.
Yes, we have. We really have. And we've been a lot of places together. We have always done the JJ approved meals and food. So, a lot of these foods in your heart of hearts, they're messing with you. They're working you. And so I'm a big fan. We gotta let them go for a minute. And we got to figure out is this causing inflammation? So food is a big one. The next one is the self-care. You got to start putting yourself on that list. And I'm not talking about bubble baths. I'm not talking about, long trips to the spa. It's waking up with using an energizing blend. It's drinking water. It is, having your gratitude journal. It's doing these things throughout the day that will give you those breaks and those resets. And there's nothing more profound and nothing easier to get those self-care habits in check than using essential oils. They make it so much easier to take care of you.
I think the essential oils do a couple things. And I'm saying this, and I've got, you've given me all sorts of cool things. So they're scattered on my desk. And I actually have sent them. I just sent some to my son. I send them as presents. But the other thing they do, besides like being amazingly powerful and working, but they also work as a trigger to go, oh yeah, like it's the morning. Now I'm going to have my energizing blend. Oh yeah, I'm putting myself first.
Mm-hmm. And the evening, right? Think about how often, how many people are Tasmanian deviling themselves into bed and expect your brain to shut off. It doesn't work that way. Then you go into the to-do list, the things you didn't finish, the mental chatter, the worry and the concern of what you didn't accomplish. And so for us, we have a routine. We've got our little diffuser. We get our lavender and our cedar wood going every night. And by simply breathing in that aroma, we have changed the neural pathways in our brain. And our brain literally says to me, oh, it's time for bed. Oh, it's time to take put the electronics away. It's time to go to sleep. And even
that is so awesome. I'm looking at my little infuser. It's so funny. A diffuser. I literally am sitting here. I haven't touched anything. And that bang you heard was my Sugar Impact Diet book jumping off the table and slamming into the trash can. I have no idea why. I think it was in response to all the sugar conversations, but I'm looking at my diffuser right here that is sitting under my computer desk. I'm like, why is it there? And why isn't it in my bedroom with everything you just spoke about? What am I doing here? So I just got totally inspired with something that I need to start my morning and end my day with. This is fantastic information. So energizing blend in the morning and a calming blend at night that helps. Both of these help really lock in your routine because it's really how you start and end the day that make major differences.
It's everything. You know, how we start our day is how we set ourselves up for the rest of the day. And I don't know about you, JJ. I mean, you've got some of the best morning habits. And when you start with good morning, healthy morning habits, you continue to make those decisions throughout the day. And we all deserve that, not only that relaxation, that moment, but we need deep, restful sleep. You want to get your hormones back on track? Sleep is such a big part of it. But if you're in the habit of overworking yourself, overdriving yourself, you're going to need that neuro trigger. And aromatherapy is the most profound neurological trigger for sleep that I know of.
That is super cool. And you know, I mean, what I love about these things is they are inexpensive, easy to use. You can travel with them. This is just fantastic. So you just talked about the trifecta. You use diet and then you couple it. And I've never seen anyone do this. That's why I think this is so groundbreaking as a way to hack your hormones to support your body being able to burn fat, not store it, using not just diet, but then bringing in the self-care and the essential oils, but the right essential oils. The right essential oils.
So that is true. This trifecta, a lot of people are not doing it. This is kind of like that best kept secret, bringing these three things together. But when you bring them together, man, the success, the testimonials, the women losing weight is just coming off. And they're getting more energy, they're getting better sleep, and they have more stress resilience. Like, they are not, you know, that moment where everything's falling apart, you're feeling overwhelmed, and then someone says that one thing, and that's it. You just tip over. I feel like so many of us are living in that zone, right? And if you've got this trifecta, so there are specific oils that will not only curb cravings, suppress your appetite, but also boost metabolism at the same time.
What?
Yep.
What are they?
All right. Your oils are, so and this is also its own trifecta. It is grapefruit, peppermint, and cinnamon. This is my Crave Control blend.
Wow. Did you make that up?
No, I've been using this for years.
And you never told me about this.
I'm so sorry.
Wow.
I'm going to make you a blend. When I see you in Vegas, we're going to need it.
Yes, we are. Okay, so this is amazing because honestly, I didn't realize that you could use essential oils. I mean, it makes sense, but I never knew that you could use them to balance your hormones that would impact your weight. I've been using them, you know, and obviously if you're helping your adrenals, it's going to help with weight loss, but gosh, for cravings, and it's crazy. Who knew? Yeah. Right.
And you can use them for, you know, it's that perceived stress. What oils are going to drop those cortisol levels? Bergamot and lavender. Just those two oils alone, you will drop cortisol levels in 60 seconds or less. But it may not just be stress. We know that oftentimes cravings are driven by exhaustion or driven by stress or even by boredom. But if you have this blend, this little roller blend of 10 drops of grapefruit, 10 drops of peppermint, and 5 drops of cinnamon, you are not only nixing those cravings, but you are suppressing your appetite and you are giving your metabolism a boost, because cinnamon is a powerful metabolic essential oil.
So let's talk about this, because I've got some of these bottles of essential oils. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I've got this diffuser that was underneath my computer desk.
Which not anymore.
That's not the place to put the diffuser. It's like, I was like looking at going, what's it doing under there? What are some of the different ways we use these? Because I mean, I've put essential oils in my bath, and I used to put them in my diffuser before it went onto the computer desk. But what are some of the other ways that I would be using these on a regular basis? Absolutely.
Well, let's just take this little Crave Control blend. You could mix this all up, pre-mix it, and just add 1 drop of this to, you know, a 20 ounce or 24 ounce glass of water. You can make like a detox water infusion. And if you sip on this little concoction, this grapefruit, peppermint, cinnamon concoction, you're not only, you know, staving off those cravings all day long, but you're keeping your metabolism going all day long. So a lot of people use this blend all day long for increased metabolism and appetite suppression.
That is super cool. I didn't know that you could, I mean, it makes sense because if you're putting them on your skin's a sieve, but I never thought about putting them into water.
I mean, you got to make sure they're really high quality. They will say on the bottle if they can be internally used. And again, we're talking about a big amount of water with one little drop.
Yeah,
You
teeny.
a teeny drop, because they are so powerful. But I've been using this strategy with women for years with phenomenal success, and you're drinking more water. So often it's really that we're thirsty. We're not hungry, right?
Right. Right.
That's the big one. The other one, I'm not going to lie, JJ, I love diffusers. I think they're great because you can just set it and forget it. You can run it right next to your office desk. You can run it in, at work. You can run it by the bedside, and you don't really have to think about it. The aroma's in the air. It's going to have a profound impact on your limbic brain, literally go into the brain, make big changes. Or you can apply it topically. So having little rollers, I've got this Superwoman blend that everyone goes crazy for, from hot flashes to menstrual cramps to mood swings and, an emotional well-being. This blend does all of that. And you just have to apply it on your wrist, apply it on your neck. I think you've got a Superwoman blend actually. And so that's the rollers. I love the rollers because they are so easy to apply.
Yes, you made me a Superwoman.
I did. And it was a Superwoman blend.
Yes, you did.
I put rose and jasmine in that blend for you.
Take care of me. So we're teasing everybody. And, I think one of the challenges is you get these things and how should you be using this? So you have your book, Hormones and Essential Oils, which is so cool. Again, going through that trifecta of when you want to lose weight, you've got to balance your hormones. And the way you do that is this trifecta of diet, self-care, and essential oils. And I've heard people talk about diet and self-care, but I've never heard them bring in the essential oils. The way I liken it is these essential oils, to me, they're like the fuel. They're the fuel for the metabolic fire. They are the missing ingredient to make this all work. So tell us about this book that you've put together.
Absolutely. So if you're still new to oils, I know we're talking about how to use them. I lay out everything you want to know about how to use them. But really what this book is about is if you have brain fog, I've got a solution. If you've got insomnia, I've got you covered. If you're dealing with digestive issues, I've got it for you. Headaches, name it, craving blends, you cannot even imagine. If you need to boost your libido, need to get that sex drive up and running, I've got a whole chapter on how to do that with oils built in with self-care. So it really becomes how we can create this oil and self-care regimen that really feels good for you. And then the next part of the book is that trifecta. I bring in the meal plan. I bring in the 14-day program. I bring in the oils. I bring in the self-care. I put it all together in this perfect package for you. And you can just implement it super easily. So depending on what you're looking for, if you want to solve a problem, I've got a chapter for that when it comes to your hormones. But if you're looking for the whole program, the whole system, that's in the book too.
Wow. Now, I just got to bring this out there for the person who's never tried essential oils and is going, really, they can really do that? Mm-hmm. Give us a couple. I'd love to have a success story. First, I'd love to know, how do they really work for the person who's never used them? Because once you use them, you're like, oh, I get it. And give us a success story of someone who's gone on your trifecta program, because I know that you've put this all together in a detox program that's crazy powerful. So love to hear those two things.
Absolutely. So one of the first women I put in this is my own mama. My mama was
who's so cute, by the way. Oh my gosh.
She was in the throes of menopause. JJ, she was having 5 to 7 hot flashes a day. She had put on 40 pounds. She was feeling depressed. She was just in it. She was on some other hormones and they weren't working, and it was backfiring on her. So she came to me and she was in emergency mode. And I was like, okay, we're going to change. We're going to get rid of some of these foods. My mama loves herself some sugar. So we had to pull that out. We got her on the oils. And again, we needed to get those hot flashes under control. So we made her this hot flash spray. She had her Superwoman blend. And within that first 30 days, she had lost 20 pounds. She had got her energy back. She was sleeping better because she was using those oils every single day. She was doing her self-care. She was drinking her water, doing all the steps. But the big thing, because she works in the OR and sweating is something that she cannot do in there, her hot flashes were gone. They were completely gone.
Wow. With oils. That is crazy.
With oils. she carries this little hot flash spray everywhere she goes, and she's known as this hot flash angel. She sprays all of these women down like literally daily, and it works every time.
Amazing. That's just crazy amazing. Because I still remember my mother going through, menopause way back when. And it was just like, wow, what's going on here? I do not want to have what she's having here. So that is incredible.
Right?
Yeah.
No. And I've had so many women. I mean, the big thing, I had a woman named Carol come to me about a half a year ago. She was completely depleted, exhausted, living off caffeine and sugar throughout the day. And she just wanted her energy back. I put her on the program because a lot of what she was eating was just driving her deeper into the ground. We used oils to help support her cortisol levels. And really, it was building in that self-care. She was working too many hours a day. So we changed a lot of that. But the food, the oils, probably the oils. If I had to name one thing that women come back to me time and time again, including Carol, was that I will never stop using these oils. I will never stop. I can't begin to tell you what they did for me in such a small amount of time, because it's instantaneous, these results that people experience.
It's instantaneous, and it's so much easier than going to the gym and cutting calories. And it actually works. So it's a complete win-win. Now, for everybody listening, I know you put together your Cravings cheat sheet, which I'm super excited about. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I recognize we're all looking for that way to circumvent cravings. And so I am giving you my top 3 crave control blends and my top 5 quick methods for nixing and crushing cravings like that. That way you are always prepared for those little emergencies.
Awesome. And you're going to be able to get that at jjvirgin.com/hormone-EO. That's for essential oils. So jjvirgin.com hormone-EO. And my friend, I'm so excited to hang out with you next week. Thank you so much for being with me today.
I can't wait to see you in Vegas, and I will have your crave control blend that I promise.
Awesome. Cool. Maybe we'll do a little Instagram live on that. That would be super fun to do. So again, I've been using these since Grant was in the hospital. Amazing the transformation they can have. And it's just so easy to put into your life. So I thank you so much for all of your brilliance today. And I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Now, after the break, I'll be answering a listener's questions. So stay with me. Welcome back. This is the time where I answer a listener's question. Today's question's from Tracy, and this was a DM on Instagram, and she says, JJ, hear you talk about adrenals and stress a lot. And she's right, I do. She goes, how do I know if this is an issue for me? And if so, then what the heck do I do about it? Well, there's 2 different ways you can tell if this is an issue for you. Now, the medical way is to do something called an adrenal salivary index. And what this is you either have, you collect your saliva, you can either spit into a tube or you saturate a cotton ball, depends on the lab that you use. And you do this 4 times throughout the day. Generally, it's first thing in the morning when you wake up, somewhere between 6 and 8 a.m., then lunchtime around 11 to 1 p.m., and then in the late afternoon, 4 to 5 p.m., and then before bed around 10. And so you do that those 4 times, and they are getting your cortisol. And then they'll also look at a DHEA and give you a cortisol DHEA balance as well. Now, here's the thing. If you go to a lab and you do a blood draw on cortisol, it has to be done very specifically at a time because that's what the lab values are normalized to. But there's a challenge with that in that there's 2 challenges, actually. You're only getting a snapshot in time for when that cortisol was taken. So I see for a lot of people, they have dysrhythmia in their cortisol pattern, meaning it should come up in the morning to wake you up, and then it declines throughout the day, but really it starts coming down in the later afternoon and evening. And so there's a rhythm to cortisol, and the rhythm is really what's important. You may be someone who has higher cortisol all day long. Generally, those aren't the people that come in to talk to me because they feel a little bit wired all day long. They kind of like it, except they don't like what it's doing to them, which is breaking them down and adding belly fat and creating cravings and anxiety and stuff like that, and generally starting to interrupt sleep. Or you may be one of those people who has low cortisol in the morning, trouble getting out of bed, trouble getting going, and then this comes up at night and then you can't go to sleep. Or you might be someone who now is just adrenally exhausted and it's low cortisol all day long. Testing is the best way to really see this and to monitor it. Like when I had trashed my adrenals when my son Grant was hit, even though I was doing so much for it, I mean, you can imagine that took a toll. I monitored them for the next 5 years, every 6 months till I got them totally back to normal. But I will tell you that it's great to put the testing together with how you feel and tracking that. How is your sleep? How are your cravings? What's going on with belly fat? How is your energy level throughout the day? Because those are the things that you'll see from having issues with your adrenals. And again, your adrenals will also create problems with your thyroid and will also create problems with your sex hormones. Now, what you can do about it, I'm going to do a shout out back over to Dr. Mariza Snyder and say, grab that book because essential oils are just brilliant here to use. The other things, because she talks about self-care here that you can put in place, tapping, and we'll put in the show notes. My buddy Nick Ortner from the Tapping Solution, tapping can lower cortisol by as much as 27%. Meditation's another one that can work well. So we'll add in Emily Fletcher with Ziva Meditation. That's another great resource. Supplements are also key here. And the biggest one that doesn't really get talked about is vitamin C. It is the number one nutrient needed by those adrenal glands and gets used up quickly. So vitamin C, and I find with people under adrenal stress, it can be anywhere from 2 to 5 grams a day in divided doses. And then depending on what's going on, you might need some adrenal glandulars to help build your adrenals back up, or you might need some adaptogenic herbs like rhodiola, ashwagandha. Can be some amazing things that you can use. So again, the big thing is to really get a good baseline, and that's where that adrenal salivary testing can come into play. We'll put some resources in the show notes for that, and then combine it with your own awareness. And this is where journaling is so key about your energy levels throughout the day, your sleep quality, your sugar cravings, and there was one more. Oh, geez, your belly fat. All right. Hope that helps. And again, I love these questions. I love to grab them off of my social media sites. So JJ Virgin Official at Facebook and jj.virgin on Instagram. And again, if you have not subscribed yet, make sure you do so you don't miss a juicy episode. And I will see you next time. Bye.
That's all for this episode of the JJ Virgin Lifestyle Show, which marks another step towards a healthier body and mind. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the show, and we'll talk to you next week.